Well, so much for the music starting for our show.
Yeah.
Um, Nick thought Nick, our promo didn't jump for some reason, so we are live right now. So,
Nice. Here we
so
go.
yeah, so let's pretend that the music went off, that great intro we have. But anyway, here we are. Did you really think this game was going to be as easy as it looked after a 2-0 first period, Nick?
No, I knew it wasn't. No. No.
I will say, we were preaching that they had to have a fast start. They had to come out with jump, and they did all that
They did.
in the first period. They outplayed the Rangers for sure. Unfortunately, the second period, it was like it's like the game script flipped again. The Rangers came out strong. I don't even think we had a shot for a while. It was like 12-3 on shots on goal at one point. Yeah. Turnovers again, and even on Panarin's great one-timer, Hart was really deep in the net. I don't think he had to be. Another horrible defensive moment on Blackwell's goal. They had an easy out and a quick 2-on-1, and another great feed from Panarin, and Blackwell, who's a really good role player for them, scores.
Yeah, he is.
And here's my thinking. It was 2-0, and before you blink, it was 2-2. They outplayed us for the first half of that period. I'm thinking you have to call a timeout when it's 2-2. You have to. You have to chew their ass after a timeout. And I was really shocked that they didn't. And then soon after, it was that amazing tic-tac-toe exit out of the zone by the Rangers, which led to the Rangers taking the lead. Or excuse me,
Yep.
And then Farabee's goal on the power play brought us back. It was a back and forth game, but the lack of a timeout was perplexing for me. You just had a sense that the momentum had shifted, and you have to call timeout. Adam, thank you for checking.
I'm not going to disagree with anything you said, buddy.
Oh, I liked it. I'm gonna have to have you talk to my wife. Anyway, Adam says great win tonight. It is. Listen,
absolutely. I'm wearing
as a Flyers fan, the way that things were going, you'll take them any way you can get them. This game ultimately still showed me how slow we are as a team, how sloppy we are as a team. The Rangers have so much speed and so much young talent. They reminded me of Buffalo from the perspective. If you were to swap X amount of players,
wow.
I would do that with both those teams.
You were spot on tonight. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, but seriously, for two teams that are below us in the standing, I would swap half the roster in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. I would too.
Both those squads.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Adam, you call it like you saw it, Adam. We kill him when he's playing poorly. He earned perhaps a star on my board tonight, Voracek, and that in overtime. I mean, he's right now has a bag in his mouth, breathing. That's how
he definitely is. But you know what? He came up. He came up big, and I mean, as much as we trashed him, we had two players that had breakaways and they did nothing. Thank God Voracek showed up in the overtime and put it down. He made the goalie look like he made him look stupid. And
the funny thing is, the goalie had to have known he was in slow motion mode because he was exhausted. So
Voracek always goes to backhand. He should have known he was going backhand.
Backhand, forehand score.
Yeah, that's his MO. But you know what? Hey, I'll take it as a Flyers fan. I mean,
Thank you, Al.
Won. Yeah.
Yeah. See, clearly I'm the subdued guy. I just don't. I pick my spots to get excited, and I'm not there yet with this team. I'll take the win, but they had their moments where they were thoroughly dominated, and their issues came through again as to why they were dominated.
Yeah.
Poor defensive zone play. Can't get the puck out of the defensive zone when you had the opportunity. Poor passing. You saw how the Rangers had some tic-tac-toe exits out of their defensive zone, which actually led to goals. I just wanted to lead to getting out of our zone, for crying out loud. There's lead to goals.
Yeah.
Lack of team speed. And, other than Farabee on that power play where he sniped it in the top corner, you just don't get a feel that anyone – and Farabee's a sniper. He's not a stick handler sniper. Panarin's a stick handler, a sniper, a playmaker. Kreider's all over the place.
Player, man. He is one dangerous player. But, hey, the Flyers won, and you got to give it to Claude Giroux. He showed up. He did everything in that game. I thought he looked like this was his best game of the year in this game.
Well,
moving, passing. He did everything he has to as a captain of this team to will his team to be better. He took sticks to the face. I thought he looked like the Giroux that I know he can play like. I just need him to do this every single game.
Now, that's the point right there. He had an amazing game, I don't know, four games ago or so, where I jokingly call it the 2.5 goal game, where he had what we thought was a hat trick and it ricocheted off a lot. And then the next game he disappeared. Yeah, he's always there on faceoffs. He's always winning his faceoffs. And real fast, Trev, you're absolutely right. Brain cramp moment on my end. Sometimes I think of the pre-rule changes timeout factor. So that is a very good point, Trev. Yeah, very good point.
Very true.
Yeah. So
I kind of don't think they needed it. I mean, they could have taken a timeout and changed that and used it for their benefit. But I also think that he left his team out to dry to show them that if you don't step up, you're gone. I mean, two players are benched tonight for good reasons. They didn't show up.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things that I'm glad you referenced that. That's going to be on our show this week. One of the topics is going to be the hypocrisy of Alain Vigneault. I read an article today that kind of supported my mindset regarding his benching and his wanting toughness, but yet not giving players that had that type of skill set the opportunity that are now performing that role in other teams. And we'll talk about that on our show this week. Trevor, you're a funny man. Yes, they are the reason why I'm on clonazepam. So I agree with you.
Hey, if anybody bet the over, they were good by the second period, man.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know why I put my mortgage on the Flyers giving up the over every game. I mean, like you said it countless times. They get
winning the over on every game.
4 goals every game.
Yeah.
Nice hat, Nick. Cool design. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nick's a little chilly tonight.
Yeah, well, it's freezing out, man. Winter came back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You gotta wear the hat, man. You gotta let the people know it's cold out.
It was cold today. From a teacher's point of view, who teaches phys ed outdoors often, it was cold. I'm a Negativia fan right now. The Flyers need help on the decor badly. Chuck, make the call for decor, please. Trevor, I agree with you, but I also want, and I'm going to ask you this, Trevor, and I want you to respond. And R. Crawford agrees with you as well. Yeah, you guys have the same exact comment essentially. So both of you respond to this. And I really want you to take a step back here. If we were to make a trade for a defenseman, do you really think it's something's wrong with this team beyond one defenseman or two defensemen? There's just something wrong with this team. I don't know what it is. I mean, last year, other than Niskanen, it's the same exact roster, but you've got players that either perform to their highest ceiling and now they're showing what they truly are, or you've got guys that age quickly, like Voracek and Giroux, who have games like tonight every 4th game. So I don't know what the issue is, but I'm not sure a trade for a defenseman is going to solve anything. We've got so many problems. And here's a minor theory I have. And I don't know this to be true or not. Oh, here we go. Let me see. Is Vigneault's message already getting lost? I mean, did he push them so hard last year? Is that why they were so phenomenal leading up to the bubble when COVID kicked in, and then post COVID, they were still phenomenal. Is his message being lost? I don't know. He doesn't.
I don't think so. I mean, you had Cooch that shaved for tonight, and he looked like he was 12 again. I mean, guys are trying to do stuff different, and they're not going to do that if they don't believe in the coach.
No, I guess you're right, but
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you do. We're going to come out and we're going to play like shit every day. But you know what? He's doing it. They are doing what they need to do right now, which is play their butts off every game from this game forward. Now, if they go back to the old let's lull and not be consistent, but every player on the ice did play their butt off. I have to give them that. And I'm not a negative. I call it as I see it. And tonight, they played every second of that game. Was it good? No. Was it horrible? No. It was enough to win the game, and that's not going to win in the playoffs. And that's where I get into my comment. This is where I look at it. Are we willing to give away the farm for a team that is so wishy-washy?
No.
I almost say no. I don't think it's worth the money that we're going to lose to make a trade, even though and this goes against everything I stand for. Last broadcast we did, I was saying Fletcher do something, but is the team really that good to do that and change the?
I've said no. I've said no from the get-go. I mean, I was on to get the Matthias Ekholm bandwagon for a bit, but then I'm thinking, with this team, is it worth giving up assets for a potential rental player? Because that's the rumor that he's a rental player because he's going to be lost in the expansion draft. So I wouldn't do it. I just don't think this team has the mojo this year. And Vance countered my point with saying, Dan, hockey's the one sport where a low-ranked team can do really well in the playoffs. I've seen it. Of course, I've seen it. But that's usually a team that's playing well going into the playoffs.
Are we really a playoff team, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's so first of all, we're not – if we were in the third or fourth position tenuously, maybe you make a trade because you got to solidify the playoff spot. But now that we're out, is a Matthias Ekholm going to get us in? I don't know. I don't
know. It depends on what team shows up. We never know.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be a player like that, and you don't necessarily have to give up assets like that. Listen, I'm not going to play GM and talk about the players that can be had for this, that, or the other. That would be absurd. Last year, they solidified their team defensively and with faceoffs by getting Grant and Nate Thompson. They had Pitlick, who would look good on this team right now, and obviously Niskanen. So those guys were all key members down the stretch, but they also, other than Niskanen, totally were brutal and disappeared in the playoffs. So
that's true.
I want to get back to it's sloppy hockey, and if you want sloppy TV, there's The Bachelor. No, their hockey is sloppy. I mean, there's
very.
That second period despite the win tonight, that second period might have been their worst period in this whole stretch of awful hockey we've seen. That's how bad it was.
That second period was like pulling my nail off of my toe all night long.
And the foreshadowing of that second period was the end of the first period when Sanheim almost backhanded it into his own goal.
Oh, my God. I was like, what are you – and why are you even backhanding it that way, period? You never backhand anything towards that way. You go to the outside. I don't know what he's perplexed me completely. Thanks, Prime Roof.
Yeah, Prime Roof. Buddy. If you guys need your your roof repaired, reach out to Prime Roof.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for checking in.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Well, let me just read Adam's point real fast. I don't think they're going to make a trade. They might release someone. I mean, whoever they release is going to be insignificant.
Yeah.
Again, Adam, I know you'll check in. Our next show, we're going to address, I believe, some of the roster mistakes that Vigneault made, that Fletcher actually set him up for now. I'm not going to say great success, but some of the issues that we're dealing with, I think Vigneault dropped the ball with some roster decisions. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
So I got a couple questions for the people out there. One, what is your most hated team out there, and who is your most hated player? I'll let you go, Dan.
I mean, well, it's funny. Our last Flyer and Ice podcast show, we did a penalty box segment on dirty but good players that we hated from yesteryear that we would have loved to be on the Flyers. So obviously I hate the Penguins. The Penguins are clearly our rivals. So I despise the Penguins. Crosby's a hate to face. But for those that say I would never want him on our team, you're full of baloney. He's a guy you'd want on your team. So Crosby for sure. You remember, I mean, I off the top of my head, I can't think of any classic rats like Steve Avery that exist right now in the NHL. I mean, you hate guys like Garnet Hathaway, Tom Wilson, those type of guys that are, brutalizing your players, and you hate them because no one's stepping up to them. So from that perspective, those kind of players frustrate me when we don't have anyone to respond. Washington's Wilson. And unfortunately, Wilson's the kind of guy that when you respond, he can take care of business, but the league had to take care of business with the suspension because what he did was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Penguins by far.
What about your all-time hated player?
My all-time hated player?
Yeah.
Dale Hunter.
Dale Hunter. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mine would be, of course, Pittsburgh Penguins would be my most hated team, but my most hated player would be Matthew Barnaby.
Yeah,
All-time Barnaby. Yep.
Yep.
He was my most hated player. Why? Because I just couldn't stand his little conniving little smirks and he just drove me nuts. And then he tried to slash. He got all upset that somebody hit him, and then somebody little poke checked him. The goalie, by the way.
And he went after Rod Brindamore. I remember that.
Yep.
Barnaby could have his nose put over here after a fight and still smile that he won.
Yep. So, absolutely.
He was frustrating.
I would have loved him to be on my team, but for him not to be on my team, I couldn't stand him.
It's sad the Flyers had to take this bootleg Rangers team to overtime. Flyers aren't a play. Jenna, we know that. We've discussed. Yeah. And the Rangers have some flat out great guys with hands and speed. They also have obviously players that are still maturing in the league, and they clearly don't have a great defensive structure going because, again, with the Flyers, and I'm not shy to say this, Jenna, the Flyers are who they show that they are. In fact, they're probably worse. When they had that like 8-3 and whatever record, after at the beginning of the season while being outshot and outplayed in 95% of the games, every show I kept saying it's smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors. This cannot last.
Yeah.
And it hasn't. And they've been in pretty much a funk all year, with one or two really good games mixed in. But other than that, they've been deplorable. Jenna, you're not going to goat me into an argument with you because I agree with you. And I'm not even sure who your hockey team is, to be honest with you. I know you're a Celtics fan, but I guess you're a Bruins fan, and the Bruins are
I like her. I don't want to hate her.
No, you don't want to hate. Now you'd want to hate a person named Bosa who was on a show recently. That's the person you want to hate, not Jenna.
Never.
Claude Lemieux, yes, Claude Lemieux was awful.
Claude Lemieux is definitely on that list.
Yeah, he's up there. Now, The reason why I didn't hate him as much as Hunter, and the smidge, if he stayed with the Devils his whole career, he would have been that guy because he was. But once he left our conference, and then he became Detroit's problem. You remember what he did with the Red Wings?
Yep. And then he went to Carolina.
Drew Doughty and Letang.
Well, not Carolina. Colorado.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When he went to Colorado, he became the Detroit Red Wings problem. They had some nasty playoff series. Drew Doughty and Chris Letang. Yeah, Doughty in particular. Doughty's one of those guys that'll rub the glove in your face. But again, in today's
I like Doughty. I think
he's skilled, but
he's maybe a Hall of Fame.
Oh no, we're not. Your question wasn't who doesn't have skill.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Doughty's tremendous. But he's got that edge to his game. And so does Letang. But again, if we're reaching for players like that, it just shows you what kind of league the NHL has turned into. There aren't any Steve Averys anymore. There aren't any Dale Hunters anymore.
There's no bullies anymore.
Well,
Tom Wilson, but I mean that era of hockey is gone. And
listen,
absolutely, Scott.
It is. Well, listen. There are. I've posted a couple jealousy tweets out there when Reeves had that fight the other night with I don't want to really get into it because that's part of my show on Thursday with a former Flyer player that's now on San Jose. That it was a great fight. There was another fight that two guys. Who was it? It was the Blues were playing the Stars. I'm not even. And it was Clifford, and I don't remember the other guys. What was that?
Braden Shen?
No. Braden. It was two tough guys. So anyway, Ryan Reeves was going after. Help me, Crawford. With it was the guy that was on the Flyers last year in training camp. I mean, we should have kept him. And we let him go, and San Jose picked him up for the same exact salary he was getting paid here, and he's basically a protector for their team, and
Yeah, I can't think of it.
And the other day, the two players were angry during pregame skate, and we just don't have that. I mean, I said it the other day. The Flyers era of any type of Broad Street bullyism ended the day Simmons left, and it's been figure skating on this team ever since.
It's almost just like the WWE. As soon as they got rid of Stone Cold, the whole attitude error stopped, and as soon as we got rid of Simmons, the attitude error just stopped.
Yeah.
And this is what you have.
Question here. I'll let you address it first. Could you read the question while I check something?
Do we get concerns ourselves with the bad start of Hart? Do we have a goalie problem?
You can start.
We answered that question our last show, and I believe we do have a goalie problem. And I even threw out the question, do we start moving the young bucks up? And Dan was on the other side. I think we should try. I don't think Elliott's going to do it. And I think Hart needs to be pushed from behind instead of being coddled. And I think that would do wonders for his ego to say, now I got to work for something. It's not mine. Because I think they gave it to him a little too quick.
I have no problem saying that Hart's been a huge disappointment this year, and I'm really, to be truthful, sick and tired of the people out there saying it's our defense that's the problem. The defense at the beginning of the year was a huge problem. We were going up 40 shots a game, but the Flyers staked him to a 2-0 lead.
Yep.
Both those goals were bing, bang, boom. One of them, he was too deep in the net.
Yeah.
I thought the goal late in the period to Gabriel. Gauthier. No, it was Gabriel. Was the glove side goal was savable. That wasn't a great goal. I'm not going to blame him on Gautier's goal, who blew past Ghost, who took a bad angle, and it just showed, again, the lack of team speed. But ultimately, to answer the question posed by Prime Roofing, yeah, I think we have a goalie problem. I don't think Hart got it at all this year. The only thing I disagreed with regarding Nick's point was they're not going to pull. The only guy to pull up is Sandstrom. The other prospects are in Europe, and the key prospects. I mean, we have four goalie prospects. Urson is number one, Ustimenko, Sandstrom, and Roddy Ross. But you only have one that's you could pull up.
Yeah, true.
And what are you going to do? Have two goalies in the same age bracket? That's not going to do Hart's confidence any good. And again, if you're worried about his confidence, maybe that is an issue. But
let's be honest, Hart got lucky tonight. He was backing his goal a lot, and they just missed the net. He had a whole section from his above his right shoulder, on his left shoulder, that was wide open tonight, and the Rangers just didn't get it high enough, or go way over. So that's correctable, though. Don't get me wrong, that's correctable. But somebody needs to sit him down and watch his film and say, dude, when you were playing awesome, you were aggressive, you were out challenging the guy. Now he's sitting back and like expects his talent to just shine through. That's not how the NHL works. You can't do that.
No, I don't think he's expecting his talent at all to shine through. I just think he's in a terrible funk. I mean, he gave up 4 goals on 24 shots, and like you said, if the countless shots that missed the net were ticketed, he would have been in trouble. And what really upset me more than anything, again, it goes back to the question. We have to give him credit. He made a phenomenal save on a power play where Kreider, I thought, had a slam dunk goal, and he stuck his pad out, made a tremendous save. Only a few shifts later, give up a goal to a fourth liner, glove side, that was savable. I mean, it was just not a good goal. And I was literally typing in my notes, could that save be the momentum that the team needed and the confidence that Hart needed to get his game back? And then before I even typed my sentence, he gave up a weak goal. Yeah, Curtis Gabriel against Reeves. Thank you.
Yes.
We had Curtis Gabriel. He got injured in training camp. He was having a nice camp. He then had to go to the Phantoms, and then he just never got called up. And we had Stewart too. And Stewart is an enforcer type, a guy that is a fourth line grinder that won't hurt you defensively, and he's ultimately retired now because I guess he was sick of bouncing around all over the NHL. So you had Chris Stewart, you had Curtis Gabriel, and now they're gone. And you can't tell me that one of those guys, depending on who you play, you can't sit Obey Kubel or Raffle and plug those guys in, depending on matchups.
I think Raffle's addition to the lineup was awesome. I think he does a lot more than people.
No. Raffle's a huge fourth line player,
and I think he's totally underrated.
No, he to your point, it's true. He's usually hurt every year for long stretches, so he never really gets to show his true value. But no, you are correct.
He's better than the players that he replaced. That's all.
I'm just saying.
It's an improvement.
Nick Obey-Kubel could sit, and honestly, Oscar Lindblom doesn't need to be in the lineup either.
I agree.
So I mean, it's tough from the perspective of you don't want to bury players. I mean, Lindblom got buried because he was he only got 7 minutes of ice time tonight.
Yeah.
Obey-Kubel got 5 minutes of ice time tonight. So if that's going to be the case, it's a shame you don't have any guys like Stewart or Gabriel to plug in, just for the police perspective. I mean, listen, the hit that Giroux took by Smith, who's a big dude,
Yep.
was a clean open ice hit, and it reminded me so much of the Stevens hit on Lindros years ago. But Giroux had his head up, and he was able to sidestep it at the last second. He took contact, but he was able to sidestep it. And I guess kudos for the guys for jumping in, but yeah, Patrick Maroon was a guy when we got rid of him, though. We had players in our lineup that could police the team. And honestly, Patrick Maroon back in the day wasn't really showing much skill for the Flyers. And God bless him, he turned himself into a solid NHL player. So, but I'm not going to be upset that they got rid of him. But yeah, Patrick Maroon has turned himself into a nice player. Yeah. And it wasn't like he was setting the world on fire for the Flyers. It's a tongue twister. So let's get to our 3 stars. I mean, nice conversation pieces, but that is for a Flyer and Ice show, not a post-game show that started way too late for a guy that gets up too early. You should know, of all people.
I do know.
All right, so who are your 3 stars tonight?
My 3 stars is JVR, Giroux, and I got to give it to Voracek for scoring that last goal.
Okay. I'm going to go.
And I went for 3. There was 3 Flyers there. That's what's more amazing. There was 3 Flyers. 3 Flyers in my stars.
Now that listen, I get your homerism to some extent, but you can't leave Panarin off that list. So I went Panarin, Giroux, Voracek.
I like it.
But ultimately, before we sign off, Adam goes Voracek, Giroux, Farabee. Again, Adam, you can't go wrong for saying those are the 3 best Flyers tonight. And Provorov played a nice game defensively.
Yes, he did.
But Panarin was scary good on the ice tonight. And in overtime, it was just it just shows you and think about it. If Panarin didn't want out of Columbus, they could have Laine and Panarin on that team right now.
Yeah,
Laine and Panarin on the same team, and I'm desperate for snipers.
Yeah.
So, any closing remarks, Mr. Hat?
I just have to say that the Flyers won. We're in the winning category now. So I want the Flyers to listen to this broadcast, listen to me, and go off of the value that you guys just won a game and work off of that. Keep the pressure on. It was almost in that second period like they thought they were smelling themselves and we're just that good and we can play. And look what happens. It bites you in the ass. They need to play 60 minutes of a game and use that momentum to push them to the next game and then use that momentum to push them to the next game. So we still have a shot at the playoffs, people. We still have a shot. Keep your energy going. We got this. Come on. The Flyers can make the playoffs. I feel it. Everybody doesn't feel it, but I feel it. And let's push on. Let's go Flyers.
That's all you got. That's it. Let's go Flyers.
My son's sleeping. I can't.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'm not feeling it. I'm half empty. I'm kind of like earlier. Trevor. I'm like Trevor. I mean, I'm despite my drop dead sexy looks, I'm 52 and I've seen so much. I've been kicked in the groin so many times by our Philly sports teams that I have the Negadelphi in me. I like to call it realism.
Realism. I agree.
I don't see it with this team. I just don't see it. And I saw it last year. And Vance and I at the beginning of the year were like, this team has 4 solid lines.
Yeah.
All very good players, but no terrific players. And I kept saying that's where we're going to get bit in the ass when it really matters in the playoffs. We have 4 good lines, 3 good lines that we can roll. I mean, lines 1 through 3 when we're healthy. I don't even project them as lines 1 through 3. They're all scoring lines when they're on, but no pure, unadulterated snipers, great stick handlers, guys that fly through the neutral zone like McDavid, like Matthew Barzal. Just nothing like that. Panarin. We don't have that kind of player. And even though Vance said it, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Vance is still not feeling so well. I mean, we hope to have him back soon. And just keep him in your prayers. But Vance said, scoring is not the problem, Dan. We're top 6 in scoring. And even though that's statistically true, it just doesn't feel like it at times. And defense is clearly their issue. And the irony is, and I've said this a couple times, the irony is defense should not be their issue because their defensemen are brilliant skaters. Other than Braun, they're all terrific skaters. But they play with fear when they have the puck on their stick. I mean, Myers was terrible tonight.
Yeah.
Terrible giveaways by Myers tonight. Yeah. So it's just they're just a perplexing team to me. The speed area is the defense, and they can't get the puck out of the zone. And how many times do I say skate the puck out of the zone? Stop forcing passes. Now, I'm not saying try to stick handle in the middle of the ice in your defensive zone and get poke checked. I'm not saying go crazy here.
Coach's MO.
Right, but I listen. I want to be the realistic fan. You can be the motivating fan. That's I feel you, but they have to show me more than one game. And truthfully, let's call it like it is. They had a great first period, and the rest had a terrible second period. And they split the third period as far as even play, and they were dominated in the overtime. And listen, if we were Flyers fans and we dominated like that in overtime, we would have been going ape shit over that giveaway that led to Voracek's goal, who was dying on the ice. How do you give a puck away to a guy that's dying on the ice?
Though, man, it went our way. It went our way.
So I know. From that perspective, yay, we got to win. But either they build on it or they don't. And when they didn't build on that Penguins win, that phenomenal comeback against the Penguins, and then they crapped the bed ever since, I am a huge proponent of momentum. I've said it so many times. And the biggest analogy I give, and I'm sorry for the fans that have heard this ad nausea, Bryce Harper's grand slam a couple years ago against the Cubs, walk-off grand slam. Yes, they lost 3 in a row.
Yep.
And we're never really in the playoff picture. You got to build off your moments of momentum. Again, Carter Hart makes that phenomenal save on the power play.
Yeah.
Does it build momentum? No. A couple shifts later, he lets in a bad goal. Let's hope this steal of a game in overtime, which it was a steal of a game. You didn't want to go into a shootout against this team. Carter Hart would have been buck naked in the pipes. That's how they undress players. Let's build on the momentum, and then I'll trade hats with you. I'll put the hat on. Go, woohoo! We're on the playoff run. I'm not there yet.
Yep.
So let's see him get some. Let's get him on a roll. They have to come out smoking. I think they play Wednesday, Thursday, so it's not. Their schedule's not doing them any favors.
No.
COVID makeups.
They got the Islanders after the Rangers.
Pile on top of each other. All right. Yeah. So that's it. I'm done. I got to go to bed.
Love it.
I got to take my clonazepam too because of the Flyers and all. So on behalf of Nicky Nuts, I am Dan Green for the Heat Ratio Sports Network for Flyer and Ice. Subscribe on YouTube. Tap the bell.
Like and subscribe.
Follow us on all socials.
Like and subscribe.
Handles above. We'll talk hockey. We'll type hockey with you. We'll type. We're not going to talk if you type to us. We'll type back to you. All right. Good night. Good hockey. Flyers build on this.
Yes.
Peace out, everyone.
Let's go.